There we go. Hey y'all, welcome to episode 5 of iWorld. A week late in a dollar shirt and a fuzzy bit. You just went completely fuzzy. Out of focus. Providing the weather and heat tolerances in here allow this show to take place. Here, welcome to episode 5, which will probably be a lot more flowing than usual since YouTube in their infinite grace has decided that non-partners can have 15 minutes as opposed to 10. I still think it's too short. I honestly wish... I know they're never going to up it to where people like me can do one whole continuous part, but I'm still thinking 20 to 30 minutes for when you absolutely need it, so I can put each topic in a self-contained part. Because there's one or two topics that it's like, you know, we only had 5 more minutes of stuff to talk about, an extra 5 minutes or an extra little bit of buffer so I can make a 22 minute is really enough. And then I
still making 30-minute videos. I mean, ever since YouTube asked that I be partner some time back, I'm notorious for 30-minute videos.
Yeah, and like 20 to 30 minutes is about enough time to go into a topic, kind of go over it, look at it, especially in an interactive with more than one person thing like I'm doing over here. The only reason to really go over that is if you're doing a full show where you're covering more than one topic. And I kind of like the fact that those get broke up into more than one part anyways, even though I'm sure it annoys the hell out of some people. The only thing I'd like to see on top of that is that they raise the number of playlists to unlimited. Because the only way I could really group all my stuff here into easy to follow playlists would be to set up the show that sucks 1, the show that sucks 2, the show that sucks 52, 42, 142. And I don't do that, even though it'd make stuff easy if I organized everything on a website. Because if people who just randomly find the video, they'd subscribe to one of the playlist accounts, and they wouldn't have any clue that other stuff's going on. And I know there's people who do that, and it's not like it really stops people from doing stuff. I don't get what their logic is. Anyways, I don't know if you're looking at the file or not right now.
No.
Okay.
Well, I may have gotten it and just didn't realize it.
I think it's called EP. Well, it might be called EP4. We might have skipped a number. You know, if we've skipped an episode number, it's because I'm counting wrong. This is episode 5. If there is no episode 4, there's no episode 4. I don't care.
Well, no, yeah, I missed. It was my fault for last week. I just had too much going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not the first person to miss a show. It's like, and honestly, this is so unprofessional at this point. I mean, if I was paying you money to be here, but you're a volunteer, damn it. I don't get a vote. It's like, you got something to take care of. You got something to take care of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I do have our sheet up. The Safari 5 jailbreaking.
Yeah, it's like anything on there particular strikes you as something you want to start with first, or you really not care what order we go in?
Jailbreaking, for me, that's when I've done that personally with my iPhone 3G. On every release that Apple has, with firmware, and there was even baseband releases where you had to be cautious about jailbreaking because there was periods of time that some releases, whether it was the firmware or Apple's updates, somehow made it a period in time where the jailbreaking community had to take the time to jailbreak it. Then, of course, there was, like Red Snow and then Black Rain and all these other different groups that would attempt different things, and of course you could some versions worked well if you jailbroke.
Yeah, I'm gonna say initially that jailbreaking stuff was not as standardized as it is now. It was really the Wild West of hacks.
Maybe a clean package from what I can tell of recent, which is nice, and I'm very glad that it's been shown to fall on the side of the consumer.
Well, no, and I'm glad the courts ruled that way, it gives me high hopes that maybe in 50 years I can tell my grandchildren, I'm so happy you have the rights I had in 1990s. You have no idea how lucky you are. It's like, I was an outlaw for most of my life. You have it easy. Well, it's like, what still remains to be seen here, especially with the fact that Apple is now the latest company to make the Germany doesn't like their security list. Even though the courts have ruled, and that's the other thing, the courts have ruled this is legal, which is, it should have never been illegal. The only reason it was even questionable is because of the deplorable nature of the DMCA and how bad a law it is, how poorly written it is. I'm a big fan of rolling the DMCA back to like it was initially. When it started out, it was a good idea. It was, we're going to fix the loophole in fair use so that people who are blatantly stealing can be punished. But it got turned into, hey, this is our opportunity to get all our lobbyists to give us back absolute control over your rights as an end user, and if you don't like it, we'll charge you $100,000 to $250,000.
Wasn't there a that made fun of that where they were in a video store and all the videos were these copies of movies or something?
Yes, Be Kind, Rewind.
That was great.
Yeah, like it's basically what it was the premise there was the guy got magnetized, so all the tapes got erased. And so, basically to save their asses, they went and filmed 20-minute parodies of the movies, but they filmed them on the actual tapes. So Sigourney Weaver comes in and tells them, but you used the actual tapes, and as a result, all of these are so... that's right up there with Hey Ya, Charlie Brown. And people began to realize just how screwed up the DMCA is when the prosecuting attorney for the copyright holder and the Hey Ya, Charlie Brown case publicly got in front of the news and said, it's my personal assessment that my client should not be doing this. However, under the new law, they have a case and I'm required to pursue it. It's like the attorney's going, I'll be disbarred if I don't do what I'm being ordered. But I think this is the stupidest thing ever. It's like when your own attorney's saying that, that's the thing, and that's the interesting thing here, because this ruling only protects for end user. Which means technically you could still make an argument, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Apple starts basically anybody who lists a jailbroken iPhone on eBay, they go, oh, no, that's for personal use only, not allowed to be sold. And yada yada and so forth, as a backdoor to sign this. Because I'm aware it's not that hard. But it's not that hard. But if it's something somebody can't legally have somebody else do for them, there's a lot of users I see not doing it just for virtue of being deathly afraid they'll break their iPhone.
See, that's what it is. Let me tell you, a lot of Apple consumers that I personally know always how can that be an iPhone? They'd say, because of course when I first started jailbreaking, I made it look cool, and I'd have 5 icons across and a 5-icon dock.
Well, no. So that's the thing, and this has been my problem with Apple for years. I'm like, if they would just trust their end user, if they didn't think they had to micromanage them, if they would just trust them, some of their stuff is great. But it requires them trusting their end user and letting their end user turn it into a useful system for them and make those last few extra tweaks.
I don't know if I would call it a thing of trust. It's more or less just Apple envisions that they want to control your experience, and I guess it's not a matter of trust, it's just saying, no, our experience that we provided to you is sufficient, and we can't imagine why you'd want to venture beyond the experience that we've created for you, and we're not going to guarantee anything beyond the experience we've created for you. Even though It's very clearly obvious that every time there is a release, for instance, the original iPhone, and something we've discussed before, that development can only go through Safari, only to be changed to native applications, and then it's our iOS is a wonderful operating system, even though it doesn't have copy and paste and this and that features. But yet, when it finally gets those features, we're somehow supposed to say, yes, it's a wonderful achievement now that
you do what everybody else has been doing, just not quite yet.
I find a lot of that annoying, and that all are the primary reasons why I was one of the very first adopters of jailbreaking. And I don't consider jailbreaking a way of getting other applications, although it obviously angered a lot of developers to say, man, the iTunes store is not approving my application. We need to have another way of people obtaining my application. There's nothing wrong with my application. Let's find a way. I never necessarily used jailbreaking to get someone's application. I always used jailbreaking just in the way I saw it, was to give my phone features that were ridiculously absent for whatever Apple had up their butt about why it wasn't delivered, like copy and paste and other things like that. I saw fit that I'd say, well, fine, I'm going to jailbreak my iPhone to provide those services to me. I never was really particularly interested in any other specific app that wasn't offered, although the features themselves were applications that you, of course, would download, and like Winterboard would be one of them that you could change the look and feel of it, and you can manipulate the nitty-gritty, even like changing the little battery icon at the top and making it a numerical readout and things like that. So that's the way I use jailbreaking, because there was always plenty of reasons for me to jailbreak and saying...
Well, no, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, and this is why I think Apple doing this ultra lockdown ultimately hurts the end user, because you can go and ask 10 people, what are these few little tiny things that you would like that's missing? It's minor little things. Apple tweaked it to try and make everyone happy, but they didn't quite get this right for you. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm saying it didn't get it right for you. And what are these things? And all 10 of those people would have something different. And that's the thing. And I just, no matter how in there you go, no matter how much research you do, no matter what, you will not make 100% of the people happy. And just having the hook open to allow others to address problems that either you didn't address because it's only something 5% of the end user cares about and you didn't want to dedicate your resources to, or yada yada and so forth. There are dozens, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of little niche markets like that it does not make sense for Apple, Microsoft, or even individual Linux distros to do. But if there's a need for it, and there's enough people who want to do it, somebody will fill that little niche. And all they need is the ability to hook in and get it in there.
Absolutely.
And it's until really a lot of that stuff isn't going to wind up in the iOS store until Apple gets rid of this rule, which is they can't duplicate functionality. Because sometimes some of these little tweaks is, well, I like this feature, but I'd prefer it work this way, which is duplicating functionality, but changing it so it makes sense to how you want to do it, which is a user-by-user thing.
Yeah. Let me give you an example of what you're hitting on. When I jailbroke my phone, one of the first features I ever installed was the ability to have concurrency and easy task switching. And that you would completely the jailbreaking process required you to put quite a few application services on the phone in order to achieve that. And
funny how Apple finally decided maybe that was something they should do.
Hey, jailbreaking community, whether Apple fans want to admit to it, Apple pays attention to.
Well, no, I honestly see that, like what you were talking about, like this feature is now in iOS 4. Eventually, non-native applications came in the form of the store, and I think that came because of jailbreaking. indirectly, jailbreaking caused that.